Yeah, I would say that despite of the situation that many Russians are foolish by Putin's propaganda, I think Russians are deserved to live in normal democratic state. And I think sooner or later they will change their attitude. They will reconsider attitude to Putin. They will reconsider their attitude to the war. At least us, like I would say opposition activists, 20% at least of Russian population just condemn the war. But others should reconsider their attitude to Putin. And I think as soon as they do this, I think Russian people will make their European choice. And we will turn Russia to the tragic, I would say, trend to build up a normal democratic state, Russian Federation, a real federative state, where just all nations living in Russia would have their representation, their voice, and could have an influence on the political line of future government. I think Russians deserve to live in democracy, and democratic Russia. That's the only way how just the world can be saved, so that Russia would not be any further source of problems, source of danger, source of just fear, etc. I hope that we will come to this. Ukrainians' counteroffensive operation, that's a trigger to changes in Russia. Of course, we fully support the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian state right now in their fight against Putin's regime. But I think Russia, it is Russian people, they're good people, and they will reconsider everything and will ask, I'm sure, they will ask just deep forgiveness from Ukrainian people for what Putin's regime did. I think we will, sooner or later, we will have reconciliation process, and we will live in friendship with Ukrainians. Thank you.
You see, in Russia, situation is now, of course, greatly dramatic, because this war with Ukraine is the main item, and maybe the only item of Russian life now, since hundreds of thousands of people have already died or wounded in Russia, and people understand this war is not a blitzkrieg which Mr. Putin about which Mr. Putin said in February, in the days when he started this war. At that time, almost everybody, not only in Russia, but all over the world, they supposed that this war would continue for a week or 2 weeks or maybe months, and will finish with the total destruction of Ukraine, of Ukrainian army, and maybe only some guerrilla fighting continue, but not a regular army. But nothing like this occurred, and it was a great surprise. We ought not to forget about these wrong predictions. And in Russian society, the majority of people believed that Mr. Putin is a great strategic-minded person. He knew everything well, and he planned correctly this invasion. Though, of course, people understood that this invasion is illegal, this invasion is aggression, but they prefer not to think something like occupation of Crimea will occur with all the Ukraine. And now people say that no, nothing like this. It turned to be a dramatic and very hard war. And nobody knows what will be in future, but everybody understands. Everybody understands now that victory, real victory with occupation of Kiev, Kharkiv, never occurred. People fail to believe in it. That's why the majority of people in Russia now in such a situation of total loss of understanding the situation. They flow in a river of life without any understanding what to do in future. And of course they continue to believe that Russia is strong, but they see that Russia is not strong enough to win even over Ukraine. Of course, Russian propaganda says that it's not struggle with Ukraine, now it's struggle with the whole Western world. But people ask, but why we ought to struggle with all world? Maybe it's a mistake. And how can we win in this struggle? Maybe it's necessary to stop the war. People don't know how to do it. So I think that now is some intermediate situation between great optimism of the first weeks and maybe total pessimism, which would occur in the nearest future. So now it's an intermediate situation of some waiting for, but the people don't know for what they're waiting now.